awareness na ang biodiversity loss, pag nangalaga tayo ng kalikasan natin, it can actually support our efforts to prevent in the long term yung mga zoonotic diseases or mga pandemic.
Kaya mahalaga ang kabuuang pagtingin sa kalusugan ng tao, hayop at kalikasan o ang tinatawag na One Health. Isa itong pagtutulungang paraan para sabay-sabay mapangalagaan ang lahat ng ito, lalo na laban sa mga bagong sakit, resistensya sa gamot at epekto ng climate change. Dahil sa ASEAN, mas mabilis ang tulong, mas handa tayo at mas ligtas ang bawat isa sa rehiyon. One Region, One Health.
Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko. Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko. Mahalagang mga balita, napapanahong impormasyon. Kami ang inyong gabay pag may bagyo at sakuna. Serbisyo ng gobyerno kapag may nangangailangan. Mga proyekto ng Pangulo, damang-dama ang pagmamahal niya. Tulay ng mga hinaing, ang problema ng bayan ating lulutasin. Tulay sa himpapawid, tulay ng pagbabago. Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko ng bagong Pilipinas. Radyo Publiko, Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko ng bagong Pilipino. Mga proyekto ng Pangulo, damang-dama ang pagmamahal niya. Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, ang boses ng Pangulo. Karamay nyo kami, kahit malayo man kami nakakarating. OFW magsasaka, buhay ay iba't iba, san mang lugar ng bansa natin. Tulay ng mga hinaing, ang problema ng bayan ating lulutasin. Tulay sa himpapawid, tulay ng pagbabago. Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko ng bagong Pilipinas. Radyo Publiko, Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko ng bagong Pilipino. Mga proyekto ng Pangulo, damang-dama ang pagmamahal niya. Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, ang boses ng Pangulo. Radyo Publiko, Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, Radyo Pilipinas.
Ang suwit-sit ay pang-mang-mang, ang suwipol ay pang-hunghang. Ang babae sa lansangan, huwag iritan kundi igalang.
Pare, ang catcalling ay isang uri ng sexual harassment. Di biro ang sexual harassment at di nakakamacho ang pang-aabuso.
Huwag iritan kundi igalang.
Isang paalala mula sa Philippine Commission on Women at ng himpilang ito.
Serving the Republic of the Philippines for more than 75 years. Ito po ang Presidential Broadcast Service. Pakinggan, panoorin, agaran in real time, o balikan sa pag-scroll up and down. Mga balitang dapat malaman, impormasyong tunay at napakikinabangan. Saan ka man sa buong kapuluan. Babangon sa bagong sigla. Kababayan. Kasama ang social media. Powered broadcaster ng bagong mamamayan. Tapat sa pag-uulat. Ito po ang Presidential Broadcast Service sa Metro Cebu. Radyo Pilipinas, 576 AM.
Oras sa DWMA, Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko Cebu, alas 3:11 sa kahaponon. Welcome diri sa atong programang Hisgutanan sa Kahanginan, Kauban yung higala Jessa sa Agua-Ylanan. Adlaw kita karon nga Lunes, ikatulong nga Lunes sa buwan sa Agosto, pizza 18. Happy birthday sa tanan nga nag-celebrate silang adlaw nga natawhan karong adlaw. Happy fiesta, happy anniversary sa tanang dunay importanteng okasyon. Dunay live karon nga update ang Radio Television Malacañang. May labot na sa National Maritime Council diin naasab si spokesperson Undersecretary Alexander Lopez Kauban ang mga nagkalain-lain ng mga opisyal sa NMC kun National Maritime Council member agencies diin gipahigayon ang second quarter National Maritime Council press conference kauban ang Philippine Coast Guard kun PCG West Philippine Sea Transparent Group Office didto kini gipahigayon sa San Miguel sa Kauluhan sa Manila. Naasab ang mga nagkalain-lain atong kauban sa buhat, counterpart nato dito sa Kauluhan nga nag-atang sa mga update. May labot na sa og ilabi na ning atong paghisgot sa West Philippine Sea. Anaa isip resource speaker sa maong press conference. Sila si Commodore J. Tariela, spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea sa Philippine Coast Guard. Assistant Director General Cornelio Valencia Jr., spokesperson sa National Security Council kon NSC. Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea sa counterpart sa Philippine Navy. Og ang Director Marisa Hilda Balmaceda sa Department of National Defense kon DND. Anasab si Nazario Gibriguera, ang spokesperson sa Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources BFAR, ubos kana sa Department of Agriculture. Sa ikaduhang quarter ning tuig 2025 atong masayran ang mga updates sa gikan sa maong importante nga sangay sa gobyerno o panagtapok o tigom sa mga sangay sa gobyerno o doon nasab ni sila yung mga private sector nga representative aban primarily composed ni siya sa mga national government agencies sa mga kaigsuonan. Nasugod na ba ni
Undersecretary
Sir Ed?
Alexander Lopez for his opening remarks to be followed by his presentation for this press briefing.
Thank you very much, CJ, and good afternoon to everyone. We thank you for making time for this press briefing. Well, basically, this press briefing will be covering the second quarter, as we had the first quarter sometime May or June rather. And what we are going to provide you is the significant events that we have done during the second quarter and touching on the SONA and the recent incident in Baudi-Masinloc in August 11. So on behalf of the National Maritime Council, in particular our chairman, Executive Secretary Lucas P. Bersamin, again we welcome you everyone to this second quarter press briefing of the National Maritime Council. And we are very thankful for the generosity of Commodore Tariela for hosting the venue and the snacks. Okay, so without much further ado, allow me now to proceed with the press briefing, and I'm very glad that the different spokespersons of some members of the council are here present to answer questions specific to their mandate. So, okay, next chart. Just to come up with a common page that we are indeed a maritime nation and archipelagic nation, meaning that the ratio of land is to water is 1:7, meaning that for every square kilometer of land, meron siyang kaakibat na 7 square kilometers of water. Okay, next chart. With regard to the expanse of the West Philippine Sea, the West Philippine Sea is actually 1/4 of the total maritime space. So, ganun kalaki yung ating karagatan, okay? And the next chart will show you the different actions of the government in order to come up, to cover the big maritime space of the Philippines. Okay, next chart. Our focus actually is the West Philippine Sea muna, no? And that expanse of maritime space, we were able to conduct 87 surface operations, and we were also able to conduct 24 aerial operations. And this is broken down into next chart. We have vessels deployed coming from the AFP, the Coast Guard, as well as the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, as shown. 7 from the AFP, 11 from the Coast Guard, and 10 from the BFAR. Okay, next chart. With regard to the aircraft deployed, the AFP have deployed 5 aircraft, the Coast Guard deployed 5, and the BFAR also deployed 1 aircraft. Okay, next chart. So in terms of total steaming time, our vessels were able to log 6,000 steaming time or steaming hours, and covering a total distance of 39,921 miles. This is linear, no? Linear. But when we come to next chart will show you that this linear coverage will translate into covering the total area of the West Philippine Sea almost more than twice. Because one vessel, for example, can cover around 25 to 30 nautical miles coverage. So that explains the strategic presence and coverage of our vessels. That not to mention the coverage of our aircraft. Okay, next chart. And also during the second quarter, we were able to conduct 3 regular RORE missions at the Sierra Madre that is stationed in the UN Shoal. These are regular resupply missions, rotation resupply missions. Okay, next chart. So the different agencies of the National Maritime Council actually came up with initiatives, no? And as shown before you are some of those initiatives, significant activities, starting with the Coast Guard, the Bureau of Fisheries, and next chart will also show you that the Coast Guard and the Bureau of Fisheries working on the KBBM program of our President, yung kadiwa ng bagong bayaning mangingisda program of the government. Ang ating BFAR in coordination with the Coast Guard ay nagbibigay sila ng mga ayuda, ika nga, no? They were able to distribute or provide our local fishermen fishing in the area around 128,000 liters of fuel oil, around 390 packs of groceries to include water provisions, and we were able to, during the second quarter, to service or provide these logistics to 79 Filipino fishing boats. Dahil meron din tayong mga government stations in the area, we were able to provide logistics mission in these 9 government stations. But all in all, during the quarter, we were able to do 15 logistics missions. Okay, next chart. In the part of the Defense Department working on our treaty allies, especially in the conduct of the maritime cooperative activities, shown you before you are the significant activities conducted during the second quarter of this year. May balikatan tayo, mayroon tayong Philippines, Japan, US Coast Guard exercises, and also commander exercises and other cooperative activities done. Okay, next chart. Again, to continue, these are the other initiatives undertaken by our agencies. Hindi lang po Navy and Air Force, but also may contribution dito ang Philippine National Police Maritime Group. Okay, next chart. As well as our Department of Affairs for the year, as of August, was able to file 35 different diplomatic protests or actions against China. Okay, next chart. Meron po tayong tinatawag na Presidential Office for Maritime Concerns. Actually, ito yung nagsisilbing secretariat ng National Maritime Council at meron din po siyang mga akibat na mga activities, and shown before you are those. Special mention po, ito yung Memorandum Circular number 87, directing all government agencies and instrumentalities and encouraging government units and the private sector to promote awareness of the Philippines as a maritime and a archipelagic nation. Okay, next chart. Shown you before you actually yung tinatawag na ICAD, yung gray zone tactics na binigyan natin ng kulay. I stands for illegal, C for coercive, A for aggressive, and D for deceptive actions. So these are the ones conducted by China during the second quarter. Mapapansin niyo po, mayroong isang ramming incident na nangyari. Ito po yung sometime June, doon sa Sandy Cay, na yung B4 vessels natin ay sinide-swipe, hinaras at basically niram. Okay, next shot. So these are the notable incidents during the quarter. We had on April 7. Kung mapapansin niyo po, ang mga bagay-bagay nito ay ang basic units na involved dito ay ating Bureau of Fisheries and kanilang mga vessel while conducting humanitarian resupply missions to our Filipino fishermen. So sila yung nasa front line, so more often than not, sila yung nasa subject to the harassments and aggressive actions being conducted by the Chinese. Okay, next chart. Again, on May 21 and in June 20, again, ang main recipient ng kanilang are the vessels from the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. Okay, okay, next chart. Yung mga insidente po na side-swapping, ramming, when every time the National Maritime Council issues out a statement, ang ating mga kaibigan na embassies o bansa dito sa Pilipinas, they are very generous in providing statements of support. And this in these two occasions, in May 21 and May 22 and June 21, actually, different countries, no? Incidental lang po yung 23 countries, pareho sila, pero different countries po came up with different statements of support for this particular incident. Okay, next chart. Now, marami po nagtanong during the SONA ni Presidente, bakit walang nasabi about West Philippine Sea? One-liner lang, no? Actually, very malalim yun. That's why we came up with this. We have broken down the statement of the President. And with regard to his foreign policy for this year, there is nothing new, sabi niya, no? Because we are following core principles that we will adhere to the UNCLOS and the rule of law. We will anchor our actions more on the 2016 arbitral award, and we'll be resolving any disputes through peaceful means, no? Maximizing our diplomatic channels and mechanisms. And what is the policy stance? That, again, the Philippines is friend to all and enemy to none. Very clear yun. Inulit ni Presidente yun, ano? And we will continue defending our sovereignty, our sovereign rights, and our jurisdiction. It's very, very clear. At anong ginagawa po natin sa strategic level? We again work on legal and diplomatic actions. We continue to develop our armed forces as well as our Coast Guard and even our BFAR for these maritime agencies to be conducting more of their mandate. And kasama din po na nakike-leverage tayo sa ating mga kaalyadong mga bansa, like-minded nations or like-minded partners, as well as within our region through the ASEAN, and also through the Quad. Okay. Okay. The next chart. At ito yung foreign policy, actually mas maganda dahil ang ating presidente ay meron siyang podcast, and he was able to reiterate or expound his foreign policy during that podcast. Delivered sometime, basically sometime July din yun, July din, if I'm not mistaken. At inulit niya kung ano yung sinasabi niya doon, kung ano yung kanyang foreign policy. Okay? Okay, next chart. Now, siguro, this is very recent, the August 11. We will break this down, no? Again, next chart. And what is about the August 11 incident? And this is basically the incident that our Coast Guard vessel 4406 went on mission to provide supplies, again, humanitarian supplies, working under the KBBM program, at pumunta siya dito sa Baudi Masinloc to service our Filipino fishermen. And during that time, there was about maybe 15 to 20 vessels, if I'm not mistaken, of Filipino 30, according to the Coast Guard. No? And once our Coast Guard 4406 was there, namataan nila na yung PLA Navy 164 at ang China Coast Guard 3104 ay nandun at sinimulan silang habulin. And our Coast Guard vessel was subjected to dangerous maneuvers, and they wanted to block our Coast Guard vessel. And this aggressive, siguro alam naman natin, no? Ang kanilang aggressive and dangerous maneuvers backfired, no? Bumaliktad, kumbaga nakarma, and it led to the collision of these two Chinese vessels. Okay? And nakita naman natin, diba, sa mga pictures na lumabas, the Chinese Coast Guard vessel sustained great damage. And to our perspective, hindi na naging seaworthy during that time. And it has to be towed. Hindi na siya pwedeng no? It has to be towed back somewhere else if you don't know. Okay? And sa tingin po namin, I being a former Navyman myself, Commodore Tariela, ay nakita namin that there must be a possible man overboard incident. No? Kasi di ba, makikita niyo yung nguso, yung nose ng talagang nawasak. At mayroong mga tao doon. No? So maybe we can surmise that there can be a possible man overboard incident. And there can also be some incident na baka may nawawalang, may mga seriously injured Chinese sailors or Coast Guard men. Okay? But despite that, no? Despite to nabunggo yung kanilang China Coast Guard, itong China Navy vessel ay continued pa rin na to habulin yung Coast Guard vessel, no? Ay dapat nagano na siya, no? Tinulungan niya yung distressed Coast Guard vessel niya, no? Pero hinabol pa rin yung ating Coast Guard vessel, no? So nonetheless, yung ating Coast Guard vessel 4401, and this time yung kalapit niyang Philippine Coast Guard vessel na Teresa Banwa 9701, they were able to offer medical assistance and search and rescue. Tinawagan nila, kung gusto nila, tutulong kami. Basically, that's the decision. Pero walang tugon yung China Navy or even the China Coast Guard. So basically, that is the incident. Okay? Next chart. Ano naman po yung impact na nakita natin? No? Ang impact nito, nakita natin, na-validate natin na ginagawa talaga ng China, the coercive and aggressive actions really threaten the safety of vessels and lives at sea. No? So, kumbaga, yung ginagawa nyo, nangyari sa inyo, basically, it only validated their actions. At namukod-tangi po dito yung kagalingan ng ating being Filipino, especially ating Philippine Coast Guard personnel, no? They showed professionalism. Alam niyo, kaming mga Navy, Marines, everything, meron kaming tinatawag na maritime tradition. So any mariner who are distressed at sea, dapat tutulungan yon. No? Siguro meron kayong nakikitang kwento na meron mga nakapsize na bangka dyan, pag may dumaan na whatever merchant, tinutulungan nila. Pero hindi nangyari sa China. Again, it is mind-blowing, no? Mind-blowing. Bakit gano'n, no? But then again, sabi natin kanina, ito yung pagiging Coast Guard ng ating Coast, the true spirit of being a Coast Guard. No? Kaya nga, Coast Guard, no? And doon namukatanga yung ating Philippine Coast Guard. And with that, actually, gusto natin pasalamatan and applaud them, no? For doing a very good job. Another thing that we saw there, the impact, no? Yung nagpalabas kagad tayo, there was the wisdom in having media on board, Aside from that, of course, na-document ng ating mga personnel yung nangyari. Kasi kung wala noon, uunahan na naman tayo ng China. Mapapalabas sila, pictures, everything, debunking, I mean, magiging defensive tayo. So that's basically the effectivity of us coming up with our efforts on transparency. No? And also, it has all been said that the Philippines will always adhere or international law, or adherence natin sa international law on the UNCLOS and the 26th Cabinet ruling. And despite what happened, the Philippines, our Coast Guard, our Navy, our BFAR will not be covered. We will not be intimidated. And we will continue to have our presence felt to protect and defend sovereignty in our jurisdiction. And we will exercise our sovereign maritime rights and even encourage our fishermen to exercise their sovereign maritime rights. Okay, next chart. Ano naman yung ginagawa ng Navy, no? ng China? We expect that they will like to shape the narrative to their advantage. They will twist facts. No? They will come up with disinformation, especially informing their people kung ano yung nangyari, pero hindi yung sinasabi ng collision, wala yun. No? They can even present pictures or videos showing, Pilipinas talaga yung nag-cut, Pilipinas yung gumawa ng aggressive, So, palaging ganun narrative nila. Pero nowhere that they will show what happened to their vessels. We have yet to come up with information coming from China na indeed pinalabas yung collision na yun. I don't think they will come up with it. No? Again, next chart. And these are actually, ginawa na nila to, no? Yung sabi nila, the Philippines pa nga ang completely misjudged itself and, surrounding situation from the global times. These are the company-owned, company-influenced social media or media outfits. They will all be coming up with this information. They will be coming up with this narrative, no? Para bang lumalabas na sila pa yung kawawa. There was even an issue. Kasalanan ng Pilipinas, dapat magbayad ang Pilipinas. Okay, next chart. There's another thing coming from their own officials, no? From the defense ministry nila. And in fact, yung naka-highlight doon, coming from the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs nila. So these are all misinformation and disinformation, the objective of which is, para matabunan, ma-cover up yung kanilang pagkakamali wherein two of their own vessels collided. No? Okay. So, next chart. So again, this is what the President said, that despite all of these things, we will continue to defend our territory and we will continue to exercise our sovereign rights. And despite any opposition from anyone, we will continue to do that as we have done in the past 3 years. Now, we do not intensify operations, we just respond. Di naman tayo agresibo, dumedepensa lang tayo. So basically, a very powerful statement of the President, very statesman-like statement. So I guess that's my last slide. Thank you very much for your attention, and we now open to your questions. Thank you.
Before we proceed to Q&A, sir, let us hear a statement from the National Task Force of West Philippine Sea. May I call on ATG Cornelio Valencia Jr. of the NSC.
On behalf of the National Security Advisor, and who is also the head of the National Task Force West Philippine Sea, Secretary Anyo, I would like to thank the National Maritime Council for inviting us here. The National Task Force West Philippine Sea exists to translate policy to action, and over the past months, this has been sustained and demonstrated through decisive diplomatic measures, sustained patrols and resupply missions, closer cooperation with allies and our partners, strengthened law enforcement and defense capabilities, as well as public information and our livelihood support to our fishermen. These actions reflect not isolated efforts, but a whole of government effort to defending sovereignty securing our maritime domain, and safeguarding the welfare of our fisher folk and coastal communities. The message is clear. Our policies are not confined to paper. They are felt on the seas, in our communities, and in our engagements with our international friends. Every protest filed, every patrol launch, every partnership forged, and every advocacy carried, it embodies our steadfast commitment to the West Philippine Sea. The National Security Council, through the National Task Force West Philippine Sea, reaffirms its commitment to the unity of efforts, because only through shared responsibility can we effectively protect our national interests and ensure a peaceful, rules-based maritime order. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon.
Okay, thank you, Yusek Lopez and ADG Cornelio Valencia for the presentation and statement. Now, before we proceed for the question and answer portion, may I please be reminded, all of our media colleagues, to before giving your questions, please state your name, your organization that you represent, and the person or the resource speaker that you want to answer your question. Sir Tristan from Newswatch.
Hello, good afternoon. To Yusek Lopez and to Ambassador Escalona, what diplomatic actions na po ang ginawa natin over the August 11 incident sa Scarborough Shoal? Have we filed a protest on that particular incident? And yung nangyari rin po nung Wednesday, yung dangerous maneuvers na po ng Chinese fighter jet over Philippine aircraft, was it also protested by the Philippine government?
Mo ka na atong pagpakisayod sa live nga press briefing sa National Maritime Council. Kauban ang mga representante sa member agencies. Atong takna, alas 3:38, atong palabang Sir Ed, ang atong mga pahinumdom, ato kining balikan ang maong briefing karon taon.
Time to celebrate kulturang Pinoy, tradisyon, musika, sining, literatura at iba pa. Anything and everything fun and Filipino. Ito ang Pinoy Kultura.
Kung musikahan lang ang pag-uusapan, halina't kilalanin natin si Ryan. He is one of 4 children of Alberto Austria Cayabyab and Celerina Venson Pujante, an opera singer and professor. Hilig talaga niya ang musika.
Limang taong nagtutulakan sa abinidang aking napagdaanan.
Sa katunayan, he was 4 years old when he took up piano lessons. Bachelor of Science in Business Administration is what he initially took until he was presented with a scholarship and hold learning in music. Bachelor of Music, major in composition degree. Ayan ang tinapos ni Ryan, kaya naman siya ay naging propesor ng Department of Composition and Music Theory.
Magmula nung ako'y natutong umawi.
Mapagbiro talaga ang tadhana. Sa dami ng kanyang achievements, Mr. C and his family was about to take their chances abroad nang siya ay nabigyan ng pwesto bilang Executive and Artistic Director ng Foundation for the Performing Arts sa Pilipinas ng isang malaking korporasyon. And the rest, as they say, is ongoing. Kasi he still writes music, composes, and arranges. Alam nyo ba? In September 2019, siya ay naparangalan ng prestigious Ramon Magsaysay Award for his compositions and performances that have defined and inspired Filipino popular music across generations. Arranger, musician, composer, conductor, artistic director, accompanist, and just about anything music related. That's our national artist, Ryan Cayabyab.
Sariling atin kay ganda ng ating musika. Ako'y natutong umawi.
Yan ang Pinoy Kultura, because our culture is cool. To know more about their life, work, and contributions, visit the National Commission for Culture and the Arts at ncca.gov.ph.
Naay mga pagtuon nga nagpakita nga mas daghan mga babay kung ikumpara sa mga lalaki nga dili mahatagan og atensyon sa natad sa siyensya ug matematika. Sa usa ka gatos nga mamahimong CEO o kinatas ang opisyal sa usa ka dakong kompanya, duha ngadto sa tulo ra kanila ang babay. Mauna ang diskriminasyon batok sa kababayen-an. Undangon ang diskriminasyon. Usa ka pahinumdum gikan sa DYMR Radyo Pilipinas, Cebu.
Hindi na lang sa sariling bayan na ipapamalas ang talento ng Pilipino. Dahil sa ASEAN, umaabot na sa iba't ibang panig ng rehiyon ang sining natin, kinikilala, pinapakinggan at hinahangaan. Alam mo ba, mas marami na ang Filipino artist na naipapakita ang kanilang obra sa buong Southeast Asia dahil sa ASEAN.
I can't wait for ASEAN to create more programs that will encourage collaboration. I think what would be nice is meeting the past participants. ASEAN would be open to residencies, not just for artists, but also to writers, to art critics, to curators, to other cultural workers.
Sa ASEAN Artist Residency Program, ilang Pilipino na ang napiling lumikha ng sining sa Jakarta, Indonesia at ang kanilang likha bahagi na ngayon ng permanent collection ng ASEAN Gallery. Mayroon ding Connect ASEAN, isang art exchange program na gumagamit ng online at on-site exhibits sa mga palabas sa Manila, Jakarta at Busan. Tampok ang mga likha ng Filipino artist sa harap ng libu-libong manonood. At nitong 2024, tampok rin ang galing ng mga Filipino graphic artist sa ASEAN Graphic Arts Exhibition sa Vietnam, kasama ang higit 150 likha mula sa buong ASEAN. Pero higit pa sa pagpapamalas ng husay sa sining ang layunin ng ASEAN. Sa pamamagitan nito, nabubuo ang palitan ng kultura at ideya sa pagitan ng mga artist mula sa iba't ibang bansa. Mula rito'y sumisibol ang koneksyon, pagkakaibigan at mga obrang mas makabago, mas makulay at mas makahulugan. Dahil sa ASEAN, ang sining ng Pilipino ay hindi na lang para sa lokal na eksena. Ngayon, may entabladong regional, mas malawak, mas makulay at mas kinikilala.
Nasayod ka ba nga dili kinahanglan nga miyembro sa third sex aron mosuporta sa maong sektor? Dunay gitawag og alay kun aliado sa kausa sa pagpakabana alang sa atong mga kaigsuonan nga nahilakip sa third sex. LGBTQIAA+ stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer and questioning, intersex, asexual, and ally. Ako usa ka alay kun aliado. Ikaw, pabilin ka bang sakop sa namihik o nagdiscriminate? A reminder from DYMR Radyo Pilipinas, Cebu.
This is a public service announcement.
Discipline is the key. Umiwas sa aksidente sa daan. Ang pagmamaneho ay may kaakibat na responsibilidad, hindi basta mapaandar lang ang sasakyan. Kilatisin ang sarili, ang kahandaan sa manibela, siguruhing inyong konsentrasyon ay hindi magagambala. Importante rin na ating laging isipin, init ng ulo ay huwag pairalin, bagkus kaligtasan ng lahat ang siyang dapat unahin. Isang mahalagang paalala mula sa Presidential Broadcast Service at Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko 738.
This is a public service announcement. Public service announcement from PBS, Presidential Broadcast Service at Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko 738.
Dengue na mula sa kagat ng lamok ay ating maiiwasan kung 4S ay ating isasagawa at pakikinggan. Search and destroy.
I-destroy natin yung mga maaaring pamahayan ng lamok sa pamamagitan ng pagtaob sa mga kagamitang maaaring pag-ipunan ng tubig at pag-intlugan ng lamok.
Self-protection.
Ito ay pamamagitan ng pagsuot ng damit na may mahabang manggas o pantalon o maaring paggamit po ng insect repellent.
Seek early consultation.
Unang simptomas pa lang katulad ng pananakit ng tiyan, tuloy-tuloy na pagsusuka, pagdurugo ng gilagid o ilong, pagkapagod o pagkabalisa, dapat po kumonsulta na tayo sa pinakamalapit na health center at doktor.
Support fogging and spraying.
Sa mga lugar lamang na may pagtaas ng kaso ng dengue,
Tayo ang simula. Ugaliing maging malinis sa katawan at malinis sa kapaligiran. Siguradong hindi lamang dengue fever ang maiiwasan. Isang paalala mula sa Radyo Pilipinas.
More women were raped, physically abused, sexually exploited, and trafficked in the year 2019 in the Philippines. More women still choose to stay and suffer in silence. Remember, you are not alone. There are hotlines you could call. Stop the abuse and violence against women. A reminder from DYMR Radio Pilipinas, Cebu.
This is a public service announcement.
Discipline is the key. Umiwas sa aksidente sa daan. Ang pagmamaneho ay may kaakibat na responsibilidad, hindi basta mapaandar lang ang sasakyan. Kilatisin ang sarili, ang kahandaan sa manibela, siguruhing inyong konsentrasyon ay hindi magagambala. Importante rin na ating laging isipin, init ng ulo ay huwag pairalin, bagkus kaligtasan ng lahat ang siyang dapat unahin. Isang mahalagang paalala mula sa Presidential Broadcast Service at Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, 738.
This is a public service announcement. From PBS, Presidential Broadcast Service at Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, 738.
Hisgutan sa kahanginan. Kauban si Jessa Agua-Ylanan sa Radyo Pilipinas, Cebu.
Alas 3:47 sa kahaponon, balik na diri sa itong programang Hisgutanan sa Kahanginan Kauban sa inyong higala Jessa Agua-Ylanan. Nagpadayon ang briefing sa National Maritime Council diin anaa na sa open forum nitubag na sa mga pangutana ngadto na sa mga tigbalita ang mga opisyal ug miyembro sa National Maritime Council. Aniya atong balikan ang maong live briefing pinaagi sa Radio Television Malacañang.
Sa BDM.
Thank you, Patrick. I would like to respond to the question whether there was a meeting already conducted between the Coast Guard and the Armed Forces of the Philippines, which was recited by the President. As of this time, there are no reported meetings that have been completed and presided by the President. As to the changes of our operational and tactical deployment, I would agree to the National Security Advisor and him being the chairman of the National Task Force for the West Philippine Sea. That is something that the Philippine Coast Guard and, of course, the Armed Forces of the Philippines also supports.
Any other questions?
ADG Valencia, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon. We also like to pursue PCG as the lead as of this point, just to ensure the message to our Chinese friends that we are not escalating things. That is the main message of using our civilian Coast Guard. So, I believe they read it. It's just a matter for them to accept it.
Sir, may question lang ako. Siguro just reaction on, kasi you are talking about recently incidents sa Scarborough. May mga there's this article, without naming who, parang nagsasabi na misappreciated daw how we lost Scarborough. And accurate ba yun na tanggapin natin na we lost Scarborough by inaction? And ano ba talaga ang ating stand doon when it comes to that? Kasi parang may nag-accuse din na may misappreciation sa AFP, may misappreciation doon sa ano talagang nangyari. That's why we're in such a mess.
Well, without naming the person, I think you and I know who are you referring to. For one, that's not true. No, the 2016 arbit ruling is a win for us. In whatever way, ito ay di tayo nanalo. It's just it's a very sorry thing that some personalities involved trying to demean, no? Para to undermine what we have won. So, in short and simple language, we do not agree to the personal opinion of that person. Thank you.
Yes. If you're referring to a columnist attacking the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces. First and foremost, the AFP remains focused on performing its mandate of protecting the integrity of the national territory, defending our sovereignty and sovereign rights. We are aware of different perspectives of the West Philippine Sea, historical perspectives of the West Philippine Sea. It is not our role to engage in historical dispute or political commentary. What is very clear to your armed forces is that we will remain focused on protecting the maritime domain of this country, ensuring our fisher folks are able to access fishing grounds, and that any maritime entitlements within our EEZ and even the extended continental shelf will be for the Filipino people. Thank you.
Do you have any more questions?
Sir Jim. Hi, sir. Jim Gomez, sir, from AP. Sir, what a lot of people saw was the employment of a Chinese Navy ship. Now, usually, Chinese Coast Guard, in an elevated level of aggression, frontline against civilian vessels. So, my question is, what operational safeguards would you employ, countermeasures, would the Philippine government consider now the deployment of Navy ships in frontline operations, not in the background?
Unang-una, ang napakaliwanag ng direktibo nating Pangulo. Whatever we do, we will not be the one to provoke. No? And hindi lang naman ito nangyari first time. It also happened sometime last year that a PLA Navy warship was deployed at nag-react din tayo doon. No? Pero ang reaction natin dito hindi tayo magpapadala ng Navy natin para tapatan ang isang Navy. Bakit? Kasi once you deploy a Navy vessel there, you come like warlike. You come in warlike. Para bang nanunutya ka, nangahamon ka. That is not the policy stand of our government. So, hindi tayo magpo-provoke kasi we do not know what will happen if two Navy vessels are there. Kasi doon pwede mangyari miscalculation, misjudgment. And that is the thing that we do not want. No? Hindi naman nasasabi dahil hindi tayo nade-deploy doon and naduduwag tayo, hindi. We are just being prudent, we're just being practical. And we do not want this a situation to escalate. And if ever it escalates, it is not to the best interest of our country. It is not even to the best interest of China for that matter and to the region. So we might as well tone it down and bring it down to a level that we can manage. Otherwise, you do not know what will happen.
Ay, Yusek Lopez. Siguro po para lang din kasi may mga conversation din online kung yung nangyaring incident, yung ganong klaseng banggaan between two Chinese vessels. If babalik ta rin natin yung sitwasyon, involved na yung Philippine vessel at ganon yung klaseng collision, would that be tantamount to invoking also the Mutual Defense Treaty?
That's speculative. We don't want to respond to questions that are purely speculative.
Hi, it's Bea again. Sir, I understand the position of the Philippines, kaya we don't want gray to gray. Pero to steal from the President's quote last week regarding a different area in our maritime areas, no? He was talking about Taiwan. He was talking about hope is not a plan. Paano naman po yun? Kung kumbaga yun nga, parang yung discussions online is konting ilang inch lang siguro, ilang meter lang siguro, pwedeng hindi China to China collision yun. Baka China-Philippine collision na yun sa Baho de Masinloc na ganun. Like, what are we doing? Although we understand there's a 2016 arbitral award, parang we still know that it's China that is very aggressive in that area.
Mukha itong pagpakisayod sa pahigayon o nagpadayon nga press briefing sa National Maritime Council diin gitubag sa mga opisyal niini ang mga pangutana sa atong mga kaubang tig-balita. Samtang sa di ta mo tapos atong dawaton ang balita nga nahipos sa atong kauban sa Presidential Communications Office. Pinagi sa PIA kun Philippine Information Agency. PDEA DDB mi pasidaan sa publiko batok sa tuklaw nga sigarilyo. Detalye ani si Justice Antista gikan sa PIA Region 7.
Radyo Pilipinas, report.
Mipahimangno ang Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency kung PDEA o ang Dangerous Drugs Board kung DDB sa publiko batok sa sigarilyo nga nailahan sa lokal nga tuklaw nga nag-ingon nga ang produkto more potent o mas isog kaysa sa marijuana. Ang sigarilyo adunay sulod nga tanom nga tabako, tradisyonal nga aso o nailahan sa Vietnam nga tuklaw nga adunay siyam ka porsyento nga nicotine content. Sumala kini sa PDEA o DDB sa ilang hiniusang pahayag. Ang produkto adunay sulod hangtod sa 3 ka pilo nga kadaghanon sa nikotina kumpara sa normal nga sigarilyo nga adunay 1 og 3% nga nikotina. Ang PDEA miingon nga ang mga resulta niini sa laboratory nagpakita sa presensya sa nikotina o sintetikong cannabinoid nga gidisenyo sa pagsundog sa mga epekto sa marijuana apan mas kusgan o peligroso. Gipasiugda sa duha ka ahensya nga kung ikonsumo ang tuklaw mahimong hinungdan sa psychotic episodes ug hallucinations ingon man seizure-like nga mga simptomas nga gihulagway sama sa pagkurog sa lawas. Kining makamatay nga sigarilyo nga gisudlan og synthetic cannabinoid dayag nga smuggled goods o gikataho nga gibaligya online. Kini matod ni PDEA Director General Isagani Neres. Kini si Josette Antista sa PI7 para sa Radyo Pilipinas Cebu.
Radyo Pilipinas, report.
Og din ni natapos atong programang hisgutanan sa kahanginan. Musunod na ang programang Operasyon Lokal Kauban si Ma'am Jean Antiporta. Kung bot ninyong mapaminaw o makisayod sa nagpadayon nga National Maritime Council briefing, naka-live stream sa Radio Television Malacanang o naka-share usab sa atong Facebook page Radyo Pilipinas Cebu. Salamat, maayong hapon.
Serving the Republic of the Philippines for more than 75 years. Ito po ang Presidential Broadcast Service. Pakinggan, panoorin, agaran in real time, o balikan sa pag-scroll up and down. Mga balitang dapat malaman, impormasyong tunay at napakikinabangan. Saan ka man sa buong kapuluan. Bangon sa bagong sigla. Kababayan. Kasama ang social media. Powered broadcaster ng bagong mamamayan. Tapat sa pag-uulat. Ito po ang Presidential Broadcast Service sa Metro Cebu. Radyo Pilipinas, 576 AM.
Oras sa DYMR, Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, Cebu, alas 3:58.
Mula sa pinakamalawak na newsroom sa buong Pilipinas. Ito ang Radyo Pilipinas News Update.
Maayong hapon na niya ang news update alang ning taknaa adlaw nga Lunes, Agosto 18, tuig 2025. Una kita sa balitang lokal. Mandawi City LGU muhatag og tabang pinansyal sa pamilya sa namatay tungod sa pagbaha niadtong Biyernes sa gabii. Detalye aniya si Angelita Hapal Valiente.
Radyo Pilipinas report.
49,000 pesos nga tabang pinansyal ang madawat sa pamilya ni adtong 25 anyos nga lalaki nga si Jeremy Balingkit kinsang namatay human kini gianod no sa kusog nga tubig baha ni adtong nakalabay nga Biyernes sa gabii diha sa syudad sa Mandawi. Si Balingkit kinsang residente sa barangay Paknaan ang una nang gikataho nga migukod no ni suway sa pagpugong ni adtong taxi nga naanod sa tubig baha human nga mibubo ang kusog nga ulan diri sa Sugbo ug usa ang Mandawi City sa mga lugar nga hilabihang naapektuhan sa halapad nga pagbaha diha sa ilahang lugar. Matod diri ni Mandawi City Mayor Junki Uwano nga ang lokal nga kagamhanan sa dakbayon sa Mandawi aside sa financial assistance mohatag sab og uban pa nga mga dinali ang tabang ngadto na sa pamilya niini nga nahisgutang biktima. Samtang ang kadto namang na-report nga naguba ang lahang mga panimalay human nga naanod or kining tungod sa paghapak usab or kining pag-awas sa Butuanon River ang makadawat usab og financial assistance. Daw matod pa nga naa sa 10,000 pesos ang madawat kung tag-iya sa balay, samtang ang kadto mga renters or sharers makadawat og tag 5,000 pesos. Apan ang City Social Welfare Services Office sa maong syudad magproseso pa og magpahigayon pa og validation alang sa kadtong mga apektado nga mga residente. Para sa Bagong Pilipinas, Angeli Valiente, Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, Cebu.
Radyo Pilipinas, report.
Laing balitang lokal, 7 ka orihinal nga mga komposisyon magtigi sa hymn writing contest sa lungsod sa Daan, Bantayan. Detalye ani si Sheila Gavina.
Radyo Pilipinas, report.
Mahibaw anak uno ang grand winner sa hymn writing contest sa lungsod sa Daan, Bantayan ato sa opening salvo sa kasaulugan sa ika-167 nga tinuig nga kapistahan. 7 ka original nga hymn compositions nga gi-pre-screed sa panel of lyricists o composers ang gihatagan og kinabuhi sa isig ka interpreters sa atubangan mismo sa bag-ong set sa mga hurado niadtong Sabado, Agosto 16. Ang entries sinuwat nila ni Gabriel Kapangpangan, Marco Bargayo, Meldalyn Joy Te, Buddy Roma, Brad Ray Ledesma, Lovi Areglo o Kent Darrell Paran. Ang song interpretation round gisaksihan mismo ni Mayor Gilbert Arabis Jr. og konsihal og mga barangay kapitan sa lungsod. Kini nga mga komposisyon i-perform og balik ato sa opening salvo sa tinuig nga kapistahan sa Daan, Bantayan. Ang mapilian nga hymn sa Daan, Bantayan mo'y magsilbi nga musical piece nga magsaysay sa kasaysayan sa lungsod, kultura, mga mithi o pangindahay sa katawhan sa Daan, Bantayan. Kalantahon kini nga nagpadayag og kahiusahan, garbo og lawom nga identity sa katawhan niini maanaa man sa lungsod o tuan na nanimuyo sa gawas sa nasod. Ang criteria for judging naglakip sa 30% sa relevance sa tema ug municipal identity, 20% sa originality o creativity, 30% sa musical quality o arrangement ug 20% sa emotional impact o memorability. Alang sa Bagong Pilipinas, Sheila Gravinez, Radyo Pilipinas, Radyo Publiko, Cebu.
Radyo Pilipinas, report.
Mo ka natong news update alaning adlaw nga Lunes sa pizza 18 sa Agosto tuig 2025 ning taknaa. Musunod na ang programa Operasyon Lokal Kauban si Ma'am Jean Antiporta. Daghang salamat, maayong hapon.
Mula sa pinakamalawak na newsroom sa buong Pilipinas. Ito ang Radyo Pilipinas News Update.